we'll be studying the topic software concepts. So, as we all know, a computer consists of both hardware and software, and both are equally important for the working of the computer system. The electronic component of a computer system that we see and touch is known as hardware, whereas the software controls the overall operations of the computer. Now, or we can say a software is a set of instructions that instructs a system for performing a particular task. Now, there are three types of softwares: system software, utility software, application software. Now, in this system software, further it is divided into two categories: operating system and language processors. Application software is again divided into two categories: general purpose application software, customized application software. This language processor is divided into three parts: compiler, assembler, and interpreter. Every part we will be studying, every category we will be studying in brief in the coming slides. Now, system software. System software directs the computer what to do, when to do, and how to do. Whenever you purchase a new laptop or a new mobile, you get some inbuilt softwares in your phone that is under the name of internal memory. So, those softwares which you cannot delete, which helps in the proper working of your mobile or a computer or a desktop or a PC, are known as your system software. Now, system software is a computer program that is designed to run the computer's hardware and application program. System software is a software that is directly related to coordinating computer operation and perform tasks associated with controlling and utilizing computer hardware. It means it helps us in running our computer hardware. Further, as I said earlier, system software can be divided into two parts: operating system and language processors. Now, operating system. We all are using phones, we all are using computers, laptop, PCs, desktop. The first thing which gets loaded on your system is your operating system, your Windows. If you are using Unix, then Linux, Solaris, DOS, or if you are in mobile, if I say, can be your BlackBerry OS, it can be your iOS. So the first thing which is getting loaded when you are starting your system is the operating system. So what a operating system does? Operating system acts as an interface between the user and the computer hardware. Now, how this is working? User and the hardware. This operating system, this Windows is here. It helping us to run all the softwares, right? It first checks whether all the hardware and the software are in the proper phase of working or not. The flow of information is proper or not. So the first program which gets loaded into the memory is your operating system. Just imagine you're working in a company and you are having a secretary. That secretary is checking whether that secretary is helping you in your proper working of the company. Similar way, this operating system is helping whether a hardware and software is working properly or not. So these are the different types of operating systems. There are many other also, but basically these were the types. Now, functions of operating systems. Number one, process management. It helps us to take care of the CPU time, that every different processor gets the CPU time. This is known as scheduling. Now, scheduling is based on two techniques. Number one, priority scheduling. Priority scheduling means we have divided the task according to the priority, that this task has to be completed first and this second and this third. The program with higher priority will be given CPU time before a program with lower priority. Second technique is round robin scheduling or time sharing scheduling. In this technique, we have divided the tasks and each task has been given a fixed amount of time. The CPU executes that task till the time is over, and once the time is over, it moves to the next allotted task. For example, if the task is not getting completed, if we are transferring any data or if we are saving something and that task is not completed at the end of the allotted time which we have given to the processor to complete it, it is put at the end of the queue. In between, the task is stopped and the second task is started. So what we are doing, just in that time period the CPU has to complete the task, otherwise it will be put at the end of the queue and at the last it will be processed. Second function of operating system is device management. As I told earlier, it communicates with the hardware and the attached devices and helps us in maintaining a balance between them. Next, memory management. Memory management means when a program needs to be executed, first thing it gets loaded on the main memory. Once the task is completed, that memory is freed and is available for other programs. File management, it helps us where we have to save our files, folders, and other systems, and it take care whether the file is opening properly, it's closing properly, whether we have given its different rights or not. I think functions of operating system are clear. The one thing which we have to keep in mind, operating system is the first program which gets loaded whenever we open our system. It acts as an interface between the hardware and the user. Types of operating system. Number one, single user or single task operating system, where a single task is performed by a person at a time. That is, your example is MS DOS, a single user, single operating system. Second is multi user operating system. In this, a same processor is shared by many users. For example, Linux and Unix. The users can also communicate with each other. Next is multiprocessing operating system, where we have more than one processors running parallelly and they are getting saved in the same memory. These are basically used for high speed execution. Next is time sharing operating system. Now, just have a look at this diagram. This is a processor CPU. 6 users are connected to it. User 5 is working. User 5 is working on it now. Next turn will be of user 6. The user 6 is in the ready phase. After the period of user 5 is over, the control will move to user 6. After that, these all will be in the waiting stage, and when the task of user 1 is over, it will move to user 1. So in this way we have shared the time between different users. Clear? It allows execution of more than one task or processes concurrently. A number of tasks and processes are working concurrently. This processor time is divided among different tasks. This is known as time sharing. You can imagine it as you are listening to music and at the same time you are typing something on Word. So you are time sharing. You are doing two processes at the same time. Real time operating system, the operating systems which we are using in robotics, in artificial intelligence, they're also known as your embedded systems. This is your real time operating system where we are working on the concept of multitasking. Many work we are doing at the same time within a deadline, within a fixed deadline. This is the time and the work has to be completed in this particular time slot only. Next is your distributed operating system. In this operating system, the data is stored on a computer, on a server, and processed on multiple locations. For example, whenever you are using your bank accounts, the data is stored in the head office of a particular branch of a particular bank, and you are just typing your account number and you are doing online payments. It means it is working on distributed operating systems. So you can share files and data from any machine on the network. Next is your interactive operating system. Right now we are using interactive operating system where we are using a GUI, a very beautiful screen, graphical user interface, through which we can easily navigate and interact with the hardware and the software. I hope the different types of operating system are clear. Next is your language processors. Language processor means, for example, I am speaking in Marathi and you people don't know, you don't understand Marathi. So I need a translator who can translate Marathi into English and you all can understand English. So the computer we know understands only the language of machine level language. And if we are writing something in high level language in simple English, the computer needs to understand that language. For that, we need a translator. Here it's known as a language processor or a language translator program. There are three types of language translators. Number one, assembler. Number two, interpreter. And number three is compiler. Assembler translates this assembly level language into machine level language because the computer understands only the machine level language. So it translates assembly level language into machine level language which the computer can understand. Compiler. Now, compiler translates the complete program. C for compiler, C for complete. It translates the complete program as a whole. It gives us all the errors at one point and we have to correct all the errors, then only the program will get executed. Interpreter. Interpreter translates the program line by line. What we are doing, we are translating that program into machine level language so that the computer can understand. Compiler was doing the same task completely in a whole. Interpreter is doing that line by line. When the error of the first line where we have found the error is corrected, then only the process will move to the second line for execution. The interpreter will move to the second line for execution. So we have to correct the errors line by line. Now, to understand this, let's have a common layman example. If I enter your class and I say, those who are having the computer notebooks get out of the not having the computer notebooks, move out of the class. So what I am doing in a whole, I am telling all of you move out of the class. So this is the role of compiler. At one stage in a whole, I'm saying move out. It's the role of a compiler. Now the second way I have done this is I will move to each and every place and check whether the child is having computer notebook and or not. If he or she is not having the computer notebook, I'll say you just move out of the class step by step, line by line. This is the role of interpreter. I hope now the language processors are clear, assembler, compiler, and interpreter. Let's move to the next topic, utility softwares. Now, utility softwares are the softwares which help us in a proper functioning of a computer system, which are of which are found when you click on start all programs and you go to accessories. You find the option system tools. There you can get the various utility softwares. One such utility software is your antivirus, which you install, uh, which you have to purchase from the market and you have to install in your computer system. This antivirus detects and removes the computer errors. McAfee, Avast, Kaspersky, Norton, Bitdefender, Trend Micro, these are examples of antivirus softwares. Next is your disk defragmenter. Now have a look here what is happening. Whenever you are saving a file in your computer system, it gets saved to a place wherever it gets space. It gets saved on that empty space. The role of disk fragmenter is to arrange all the similar type of files in one place, then then another similar type of files, then another type of similar files. For example, I can say word files in a block here. For example, these red lines are your doc files, your word files. These blue lines are your PDF. So when I start this disk fragmenter task, all these things will get at one place, all doc files all together, then all PDF files together, at the end similar way different extension files all together. At the end what I'll get, all the unused space on the hard disk you will get all together. So this, in this way we can find out how much empty space we are having in the computer system. Next is your backup utility. Backup, everyone knows, we are creating a copy of the complete program, so as which can help us if the system crashes or if the light goes off, you are having a backup of your files. Compression utility, if the size of the file is very high, we compress the file so that we can send the files from one sender to the other receiver. Disk cleaner, any file which we have not used since long, it deletes that files. It informs us, first it informs us that this file has not been used for 21 days, for example. So we have the option of deleting that file, which will help us in clearing the memory of the phone or your computer system. And obviously the speed of the system is increased if we delete these types of files which are unused. File management tools, it helps us in storing, indexing, searching and sorting files. Whenever we use the search option, that we, for example, I want to search softwares file, software.docx and softwares.mov, it gives us all the files starting with the same name. So this is your file management tool. I hope all the utility softwares are clear till now. So what we have started till now, we have started the system softwares, that is your operating system and the language processor. We have started the second part of system software, that is your utility softwares. Now the final one, that is your application software. Application software means the softwares which are designed to perform a particular task only. For example, you are purchasing, you want to buy pizza from Domino's. Now, whenever you go to Domino's or you call Domino's, they have a beautiful screen in front of them. They just ask your phone number, and when they enter your phone number, they ask for your details, they enter the details, the data gets saved at the back end of the system, the beautiful software that they are seeing on their screen. They are not concerned how it is working. That is, it is performing just a task of taking orders and entering the details of the customer there. That type of software is known as application software, which is created for a particular task. Similar way, your railway reservation. Similar way, your banking software. Similar way, when you go to library, the details of books are there. Library management software. These all are your application softwares. So application softwares are divided into two types: general purpose application software and customized application software. General purpose means which cannot be modified, which are used for a specific task only. For example, your word processor, only you can type document files there. Presentation tools, you can make slides, spreadsheets, you can do calculations. Database management, you can create tables, you can store the data in the form of tables. Customized application software, as I said, the example of Domino's, railway reservation, banking systems, hotel management, library management, school management, those softwares which are created according to the need of the end user. End user is who? I am the end user. I am telling the company, please make a software for me which will perform this particular task. ठीक है, so I am the end user. So these type of task softwares are known as customized application softwares. I hope both the types of application softwares are clear now. So again, I'm telling you what we have studied. Number one, system software, operating system, utility softwares, and application softwares. That all was in your software concepts. Now the homework for the day. These are few questions which you have to do as homework. I hope the topic is clear. Thank you so much. Bye bye.